Hi all, welcome to session 35 of Azure Data Factory. And in this session, we are going to take a look at a new activity from iteration and condition section, which is known as if condition activity. Okay, but before we go into this, I just want to explain the filter activity by taking an example of Python code. Okay, so that people are able to understand what I was trying to explain in the last session. Okay, so it is very easy to understand the iteration and conditional activities of Azure Data Factory if you know any programming language. So Python is one of the simplest programming language that I know of, so I will explain every construct of iteration and conditional section of Azure Data Factory using the corresponding Python code. Okay, so before we go into if condition activity, let's take a look at filter activity. Okay, so like we saw in session 34, filter activity takes an input array, and whatever expression, the boolean expression that you give to filter activity, it is going to apply that expression on each and every item of that array, and the item that is going to satisfy that expression will be given as an output. So if there is only one, it will be like array of one input, one item, and if there are multiple items of the input array that are satisfying the expression, it is going to give those many items in the output array. Okay, so that is how filter activity works. And if you just see the last session, and I'm going to demonstrate a simple Python code, the way Python uses filter is like very same, almost same as Python, almost same as Azure Data Factory filter activity. Okay, so let me just go to this platform. It is called as repl.it. Here you can just write your Python code without any additional installation on your system. You just need an internet connection and a browser. Okay, so here I'm going to create a list. Okay, so list of numbers. Okay, so this, if you see, it is very similar to input array of our filter activity. So here I'm going to pass some numbers. It is auto completing for me, so that's nice. Now list of numbers. Okay, now I want to get only those numbers that are completely divided by 2, that means the even numbers. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply say even numbers. Okay, this is the output in case of filter activity. So I want output of even numbers as an array. So here what I'm going to say, I want the output as an array, so I will say list. And here if you see, it is auto completing. So what it is doing, it is calling the filter function in Python. So filter function is like filter activity in Azure Data Factory. It is going to take an expression. So this is the expression. So what it is doing is, expression is saying that go through each and every item of the input array. Okay, that is list of numbers, and check whether the remainder after division by 2 is 0 or not. If it is 0, that means this condition is true, and whatever item is giving the remainder 0 in this expression is going to be given as an output for the for the filter. Okay, so if I just go ahead and print the even numbers. Okay, let's see what it gives us as an output. So if you see, it is giving me 5 numbers: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so this is the input array. Okay, this is the input array. The line below is filter activity in ADF. Okay, this is filter expression in filter activity. Okay, and finally you have the output. Okay, let me rerun. So as you can see, you can relate to this Python code. The list of numbers is the input to the filter activity. Like we have here list of numbers, we will pass an array to the filter activity. Then you have the filter activity, which is represented by function here in Python. After that, you have an expression given as lambda expression in Python. You have an expression in ADF as its own language, and after that, it is going to apply that expression on the items of the input array, and based on that it is going to throw you an output. Okay, so this is how the filter activity works. So if you just relate the Python code to the ADF session that we did last day, I think session 34, you will be able to understand. Okay, and going forward I'm going to take an example of Python before we jump into our iteration and conditional activities. Okay, so this was filter. Now let's start with our if condition. Okay, so as per the Microsoft, the if condition activity is same functionality that an if statement provides in programming language. So what if statement does, it actually passes the control to a section of code based on an expression's output. So the expression is going to give you a boolean output, whether it is either going to give you a true or false. Based on that, it is going to execute the certain set of statements in the code. Okay, so let's just see first how it is going to work in Python, and based on that we will go ahead and work on the Azure Data Factory pipeline. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same example. So I'm going to say list of numbers. Okay, and here I'm going to pass 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, now suppose if I want to print if print even and odd based on the division by 2, I can use if condition. So here I would say if, and after that I can say I have to use for also. So for I in list of numbers, let's not worry about the for right now, we will see it later, but right now just focus on line number 4, that is if condition. If I percentage 2 print f I is even, else I is odd. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are going through this list one at a time, and after that we are checking whether the number that we currently have is completely divisible by 2 or not. If it is completely divisible, the remainder will be 0, and if it is giving remainder as 0, it is even. We are printing the message that 2 is even, 4 is even, 6 is even, like that. And if it is not the case, then we are saying that the number is odd. Okay, so this expression from line number 4 to line number 7 is called if condition. As you can see, based on the output of this expression, the one that I have highlighted, whether the division by 2 is complete or not, that means remainder is 0 or not, it is going to execute either line number 5, it is true if it is true, and or it is going to execute line number 7 if it is false. Okay, so here controls are given to line number 5 or 7 based on the evaluation of this expression. Similarly, we are going to see this in our Azure Data Factory. So let's just go and run this code, and let's see what is the output. So as you can see, 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, 4 is even, likewise. So every time it is evaluating, based on the evaluation whether it is true or false, it is printing the corresponding message. Okay, so this is the if condition, and for this same programming construct we have the if condition activity in Azure Data Factory. Okay, so it is very simple. Let's just go to Azure Data Factory Studio and let's see. Okay, now let me create a new pipeline. I will say PL if condition demo, and I'm not going to do any copy activity here because I just want to show you the construct, how it is going to give you the control based on the evaluation of the logic. So here I'm going to say I need a set variable activity. Okay, and here I'm going to say set input number. Okay, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a parameter, and that parameter will take the number from the user. So I'm going to say number. Okay, and it is going to be of int type. Now after that I'm going to call the if condition activity. So here you just create the if condition activity. As you can see, the if condition activity has three things. So you have if condition 1, after that you have true, and you have false. Okay, so we are going to configure these activities one at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go into this, but before that let me just put set variable activity here. Okay, so I'm going to create a new variable where number. This is going to be of integer type because we are getting parameter in the form of integer from the user, and I'm going to pass the parameter that we are getting from the user as an input here. Okay, now if you go into if condition, check even or odd. Okay, so I am going to create one more variable which is going to give us the message, and it is going to be of string type. Now if you come to activities, it is going to ask you an expression. So like we have here, you have an expression, after that you have true and false. So there are three things, right? Now if you see into your Azure Data Factory, this if condition activity also asking you to provide three things. So you need an expression, you need what you should do after the evaluation of the expression turns out to be true, or what is going to be the output in case the expression is giving you a false as an output. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to say add dynamic content. I'm going to go to function. Remember in the last session I had talked about the function like logical functions, math functions, string functions. So here I'm going to use math function. So you have add, division, max, min, mod. So here I'm going to use mod. So what I'm going to say, I need to divide the number by 2, and after that I want, okay, so you have equals mod variable where number 20. After that what we are going to do, after that what is done is that we have got equals mod variables where number 2 comma 0. So it is going to give you the output whether the variable is divisible by 2 or not, and if it is, then it is going to check the remainder with the 0. Okay, so this is the expression. Now we are going to define our true and false activity. So we have messages. So I'm going to use the set variable activity because I also already have a variable message defined. Set message as even. and I'm going to pass even as an output. Here it is going to say odd. Okay, so what we did, we took an input from the user, set it in variable, and then based on the division we are checking whether the input given by the user is even or odd. Okay, so let's just run this in the debug mode. Set messages odd. Okay, let me just, I think I did not set. Yeah, so we missed that message. Here it is going to be odd. I think I by mistake given this value in the description. Sorry for that. Let me go back. Let me validate. Everything is looking good, and click on debug. And I'm going to pass the value as 4. Now let's see what the pipeline is going to do. So as you can see, check even or odd, and after that it is setting the message as even because it is divisible by 2, and you can see the output is even. Okay, similarly if I run and give a odd number here, let's suppose I give 5, it is going to go for the false, that is odd. Messages odd. Okay, so this is the ADF if condition activity for you, and based on this you can define the branches in your Azure Data Factory pipeline. So suppose if the file has arrived, based on that you want to take certain steps, and if the file is not there, based on that you, in case of that you want to do something else, then you can use the if condition activity where you can check the existence of the file using get metadata activity first, and after that based on the availability of the file, either you can take a new step whether you want to process the file, or you want to send a message that file is not there, or you want to wait for some time. So all these kind of branchings you can do using if condition activity. Okay, so that was all for today. Please like, share and subscribe. Please provide your feedback on my video and content if there is anything that you want me to improve, and let's meet in the next session. Thank you so much.